Hey guys, if you didn't already know, we are doing a massive Christmas giveaway, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video to find out on your chances of winning. This time of year can mean many things. Presents are being bought and wrapped, seasonal festivities are being celebrated, copious amounts of food and drink are being consumed with family that we don't really like at all, and best of all, there is loads of football on the TV. So much so that in the 2 weeks around Christmas, there are 40 Premier League games, including the El Clasico on December 23rd. We have loads of football to feast on. But does this jam-packed schedule actually benefit the clubs and the players? Or is it all about fans' entertainments and the bank accounts of those TV companies? Well, let's have a look at both sides of the argument. First off, as I just mentioned, it's about the tradition. Now, Boxing Day is normally where you finish Christmas Day leftovers, return unwanted gifts, and most of all, watch your football team. Now, it's been a part of many a household, including my own, over the years, so it really takes pride in an English football fan's calendar. Now, this is where I think the TV companies actually have it right. We spend a lot of money on gifts and travelling around the world to see various family members that it's not always possible to afford or to have the time to go to a game. So having the TV in front of you to watch your favourite team is a pretty good idea, especially when you don't have to move from the sofa. However, when does that go too far and we start using these professional football players as puppets in the big corporate game? Now, a few years ago, Rio Ferdinand sent out this tweet from his hotel room on New Year's Eve. As you can imagine, it caused absolute outrage and is still there on Twitter for you to look at. However, did he have a point? Well, from a world's perspective, no. He can count himself lucky to be playing the sport that he loves so much and getting paid very handsomely for it. But from a football perspective, things are a little bit different. Let's take a look at a key stat from this year's Christmas schedule. It includes how many hours each team has to play their 4 games in. Starting at the very bottom with Leicester, who will play all 4 of their games in just 213 hours. Look at the top, and the likes of West Ham, Arsenal and Spurs have around 290 hours between their 4 Christmas fixtures. So if you add this into the fact that they'll be travelling around from home to away games, stuck in buses and planes, and then have to go out and for 90 minutes produce the kind of performance which carries the expectation of millions of fans around the world, doesn't seem as easy as just flicking on your telly 2 minutes before kickoff, does it? Personally, I understand the demand for the sport all over the world. I myself am someone who loves to sit down and watch a load of football. But there comes a point where the football players need to be treated slightly more humanly, regardless of how much they're paid. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp hasn't hidden away from saying that he thinks this Christmas schedule leads to less running, poor performances and less excitement all round in the Premier League, as well as harming his team's own Premier League chances. So, does he have a point? And what does it mean for the season as a whole and beyond? Well, looking beyond the busy winter period, the hectic Christmas scheduling has always seemed to be cited when it comes to England's international failures with the men's first team. I mean, we're the only country who has a winter break. Look in German Bundesliga, for example, where they have 5 weeks off from the end of December to the end of January or so, and I really don't need to go into detail about how well their national team is doing in the competitions come summer. So would it benefit our players to have a break instead of playing for 2 years non-stop? Well, I'd like to see something in the middle of the two extremes. On one hand, I don't want to see the Christmas tradition of football lost, but on the other hand, I don't want the English players burnt out before the time that the Summer World Cup comes. So what's my suggestion? Well, let's have a look at the rest of the English calendar throughout the season. Firstly, either scrap the League Cup altogether or make it an under-23s tournament. This way, young English players at the likes of Chelsea will actually get a game before their Premier League debuts, instead of being 24-25 without any real experience. Secondly, let's get rid of FA Cup replays. Now, I know they're an attractive proposition for a team to either take a glorious team like United back to their home, or to get the dream away tie replay at Old Trafford. If it's the small gate receipts they're worried about, I'm sure some sort of financial compensational package can be reached. And thirdly, now I know this has nothing to do with just the Premier League on its own, and probably more with FIFA as well, but let's cut those crappy international breaks just for friendlies. I understand that the World Cup and European Cup qualifiers are important, but let's try and fit them into some sort of schedule which doesn't already cluster a massively jam-packed domestic schedule. So there's my rant over. Keep the Christmas schedule and don't exploit one of English football's much loved traditions. I may sound like an old man, but things were better in the old days. There's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think and how would you get around this amazing yet turbulent time of year for football fans. As for the Christmas giveaway, make sure you go back and watch Monday's episode of 1-2 to find out how you can win one of the amazing prizes.